Backcourt, Mike Brown along with Jason Murdoch, who hit the winning free throws last night in overtime against Syracuse. There's Steve Lappas, third year for Villanova, led them to the NIT title last season right on this floor. Eric Ebers up front along with Jason Lawson and Chuck Cornegay. Kerry Kittles, the player of the year in the Big East, along with Jonathan Haynes. Burr, Sylvester, and Kitts, the officials. Villanova 23-7 on the season. These two split during the regular season, with Providence winning last week, 71-70.
And this Providence team on a tear. 3 straight wins against top 25 opponents.
1 for 4 today. Murdoch. Underneath, followed up once and twice, and they score.
Well, you figure a team that lost Dickie Simpkins and Michael Smith would have enough power inside. 2 guys that went to the NBA. Michael Smith, of course, doing so well in his rookie season. But this is still a very powerful front line.
Troy Brown, who was redshirted last year, playing the pivot, gets the game's first points.
Nice double team on Lawson.
And stolen away by Providence. What a key game this is for them, trying to make their way into the NCAA tournament. Eric Williams scores. 4-0.
It's going to be hard to believe nobody back with a guy like Williams. As you mentioned, all-conference performer, just breaks free. Great man-to-man.
No shot. So take away the Haynes jumper. Foul called against Troy Brown.
Trying to gain position, and you can see right again, and I think we saw in the first game, hand checking was called very closely. Trying to draw the charge was not. Nice backcourt cut.
Boy, Kittles fooled him. Looked like he was going outside. He turned around, was wide open.
That was a great play.
Eric Williams. Look at that hustle. Williams stepped to the hole. Not again.
Oh, no foul called on that. Haynes got a piece of the arm.
Kittles out of the pack.
Hit one of those spots on the floor.
Ebers. Troy Brown saves it. Ebers way off the mark last night, unlike his usual performance.
Williams really fired up. I mean, he's sky high, isn't he?
From Western and one. I'll tell you, after the intensity of the first game, Georgetown and UConn, a little lull here in the audience.
Yep.
Can you feel it, Bill?
Yep. There was great intensity at the start of the other game. Madison Square Garden was like old times. You thought you were back in the days of Ewing against Mullen.
Western three-point play. So the Huskies are already in the final, and they'll play against a team tomorrow. They're assured of playing a team that beat them once during the season. Both Villanova and Providence with victories against the Huskies. And the other team was Kansas, to beat UConn this year.
Double teams on the first pass on the side. Villanova recognizes well. And Cornegay, who's an excellent ball handler for a man his size, was an excellent outlet.
Lawson scoring underneath. Troy Brown right back. 9-4 Providence.
Troy Brown really has built himself up. His upper body strength is incredible, and he's given Lawson more than Lawson can handle right now. The referees see him banging.
Second whistle away from the ball against Providence.
Jim, what happened right there? Brown trying to establish that the lane belongs to me and unnecessarily banged Lawson for no reason at all. I mean, he wasn't trying to beat him to a spot, and he's got to sit down right now. That's not a smart play. Pete Gillen calms him down.
Yep. Pete Zabilski comes in, and both of those fouls on Troy Brown away from the ball, trying to get position. So 2 quickly. He'll sit. Ebers in the lane for 2.
Murdoch wanting to make Ebers put the ball on the floor, and Ebers responds extremely well there. He has a tendency, obviously, to want to be a spot-up shooter.
Michael Brown. last night against Boston College. It was a struggle, 68-64, knocking out the 10 seed. And they tried to lob it inside the Kittles, out of bounds off Villanova.
Well, Jim, that's a cross-court lob, and that'll work with one exception. If Lawson's down in the low post, there's no clear out on the weak side. There's just too many bodies in there for Kittles to go up. What you want if you're Providence today is for your backcourt to at least neutralize Villanova. And there is the problem. Providence plays really without a point guard. Brown's a swing player who's being asked to go ahead and put the ball on the floor a lot. You have to play in a league like this with all the pressure and not have a guy that can be your primary ball handler.
Kittles tipped up and in. Cornegay. 9-8 Providence.
Haynes, a good ball hawking, moving his feet, just trying to stay right with Brown and occupy him. How about the calls right now? Away from the ball, that's the third call we've had on a post man. That's on Lawson.
That's 2 on Lawson. So they bring in Ron Wilson. And the star from last night for Providence coming in for the first time, Austin Crozier, who had 28 in the victory against Syracuse. Crozier, number 44 for Providence.
I'd like to have 28, be the guy that carried the team and be the first, not the first sub off the bench to the front court. Huh?
That's right, they brought Zabilski at first.
Right. You're sitting down there saying, yeah, coach, I'm ready.
Sure, I'm ready.
He looks right past you.
Going in another direction.
That's right. Hey, I was on the front page of the New York Times today, and he went right by me.
Three-pointer by Haynes gives the Wildcats the lead.
Both teams straight man-to-man.
Western ties it.
Jim, Western last year, the first 14 games was averaging 15 points a game. And then with those injuries, of course, didn't get a chance to play the last 8. But he is an explosive scorer.
Western primarily absent last year, the postseason due to an ankle sprain. Cornegay. Over the back against Ron Wilson. His first.
And Wilson came in with a big game yesterday when the front line was not operating well.
All 11s on the board. RPI, they ranked 4th in the power ratings. They were 6th in the conference this year. 5-5 in their last 10 games. However, the last 3, again, they beat ranked opponents. Are they going to get in if they win today and make it to the finals, then lose tomorrow, Billy? Would they?
I think you'd have to put them in there. That'd be 4 straight games against wins against top 25 opponents. I mean, there are a lot of teams going to be in this that never played a top 25 opponent.
Yeah, but those are temes that received automatics from small conferences. I think they have to win this tournament to get in.
I don't think so. If they win this game, I'll be surprised not to see them on the board Sunday.
Kittles off early, goes the mark early. Western driving from the wing.
Oh, nice.
Here's the thing, if Providence wins today and loses tomorrow, you got to remember, you got to throw out one of their wins. It was a Division II win. They would be 16-12 if they win today, lose tomorrow.
How about that momentum, though, at the end of the season?
Well, the last 5 games, they also had losses to St. John's and Pitt, and they look at the last 10 games, not the last 4 games.
And you know what? The one thing that they can't get away from, Jim, is that Miami and St. John's both beat them in sweeps this year.
Underneath, quite a struggle, but Crozier pulls it away. Plus, before this recent rally, they only had 1 win over a team ranked in the top 85 at the time they played them. Williams off on a 3 and over the back against Western.
All right, to make my point, I'm going to counter it. That team was Oklahoma State that they drubbed, and Oklahoma State had the automatic to get in.
But again, that was their only win before this last week over a team in the top 85.
You won't rest your case. You're hammering me, Jim.
Is that an objection?
Yeah, that was an objection.
All right, sustained. Haynes using the glass beautifully.
Both Haynes and Kittles in this game so far have really moved well without the ball. And the real key against teams that are playing pressure defense, man-to-man, right in your face, as Providence is. Have not been able to get the ball to Williams.
Crozier with a soft touch.
Pat O'Brien here in New York City, a major upset in the making now at Kemper Arena. Iowa State and Kansas. There you see the score. It went into overtime. It's 78-72. Iowa State over Kansas. 12 seconds left in the game, and huge consequences for both teams.
No question about it. Iowa State went into this game needing it on the bubble, and they're still on the bubble because this win here takes them to 7-8 in the Big 8. They need a winning record in the Big 8. It takes them to 22-9 overall, but they still have a losing record in the conference.
Well, we were worried about Kansas and what it did for Kansas, and obviously it knocks them out, but it gives the selection committee an opportunity. Should Arkansas win, I think they now become the #1 seed in the Midwest.
Let's listen in now. Fred White and John Sundvold for this thriller.
Hoiberg has 20. The Cyclones have a stranglehold on it. 7 seconds left in the overtime. Pass for 3. No. Beecham fighting for the rebound. The Cyclones have it. And Pollard is going to foul Sean Jackson. As the game goes off, this one's over. And Iowa State has done it.
And so an upset here, and the tournament selection committee didn't have enough things to worry about. Now they'll have plenty of more work to do with more work at the Garden. Here's Jim Nance. James.
Wow, what a win for Iowa State, and interesting conjecture we heard from the fellas there about Kansas possibly losing a #1 seed.
Well, Jim, I didn't want you to throw your box of popcorn. Great pass on inside to Western, but when George Raveling said Iowa State's on the bubble, you threw your popcorn 4 rows back.
I don't have any popcorn here.
Well,
I think they're in. I mean, the Big 8 is ranked as the hardest conference in college basketball this season. They have 22 wins, and they've beaten the the second-ranked team in the country here today. What do you think?
No, I think Iowa State's in. I can't agree with George on that one, but it sounds like the guys in the studio are going to be up for some nice little confabs here. You know, one of the things that does jump out at you, and there may be more because I don't know what happened today, but that makes 12 #1 conference seeded teams that have lost in their postseason tournament. 12. Good rebound. Kornegay going right up underneath.
Here it's 16-13 Providence with 12 minutes to go in the first half.
Double team on the pick and roll.
Zephy Pin scoring from off the bench.
There's good spacing on the part of Villanova, and that's why it's very difficult to double team like that. If you don't make the interception or tie that guy up, one more pass and you've got an easy shot. So far, Williams has been held in check by Kornegay.
Outside 3, nailed by Bo Larrigan.
Larrigan got fouled after the shot by Williams, no call.
19-15 Friars. Spin on that one. Crozier pulls down the rebound.
That's about his 4th rebound, Jim, since he's come into the ball game.
Western too strong. Right back to him though.
Crozier kept that alive for Western. A half-court game, much different to the game we saw that preceded this, where both teams were using the full floor.
Williams battling out. Kerry Kittles has 2 points thus far, leading scorer in the league. Made 1 of 6 from the field.
And of course, yesterday had only 9 points in 37 minutes.
Zephy Pin with the rebound, but traveled. 6 different players have scored for Villanova, but they trail 19-15.
Back at the Garden, where earlier today Georgetown got beat by the UConn Huskies, and with me right now is Huskies coach Jim Calhoun, and we talk about experience down the stretch. It was a very tight ball game. What was the edge for UConn?
Well, I just think experience. Jerome Sheffer, Kevin Reilly, Ray Allen, and certainly Donnie Marshall, playing with basically 2 seniors, a junior and a sophomore, but kids who have played every minute of every game for us. We scored in 8 of our last 9 possessions. Georgetown was 2 out of the last 8 possessions. That messes with the basketball game.
You've lost 3 games this season, 1 to Kansas, the other 2 to these 2 teams playing right now. Which tomorrow would be the better matchup for UConn?
Anyone that shows up and ready to play is just fine. Right now, I'm going to relax and watch it. I'll try to relax and watch it. But the Big East, obviously, the league has improved with the young teams getting so good. This team, Providence, is playing great, as you know. Beating 3 top 15 teams, should be in the NCAA tournament. And Villanova clearly is one of the best 15 teams in America.
Thanks, Coach. Let's send it back to Jim Nance.
right, a basket by Kerry Kittles, and now a foul called against Larrigan of Providence.
Jim, one of the things that really impressed me about Kittles so far today is his movement without the ball. You know, we saw him in that sensational game, obviously, against Connecticut, where he had the ball in his hands a lot. Today, he basically has not touched it, but he's been patient, moved without the ball, and getting some good layups. Scott Murdoch chasing him.
Evers won't leave him open.
Hasn't yet gotten on track today. Yesterday, he scored for 13 from 3. Not his game.
Turnover against Providence. Steve Lappas said after the game, though, that Eric Evers has the green light. I don't care how bad your game is. Keep shooting until I take you out. Kittles misfiring that time.
Oh, yeah, he's got the stroke. He's proven it time and time again that he can hit that three-point shot. Shooting almost 45% from 3, so not many people in the country have got a guy like that. Nice timing.
Brown. Boy, did he ever time that one. 5 rebounds for Brown.
So difficult not to go over a man's back when you're behind him like that. It was just perfect timing. Lawson didn't have a body on him.
8 minutes to go in the half. Eric Williams.
Penn did a nice job on Williams, the all-conference performer.
Wildcats trail by 2. Dumping it inside. Lawson right back. Zeffie Penn. Zeffie Penn the third.
Again, moving without the ball is what Villanova is doing really well in this first half. Have themselves in a tie score now, and since they've gone to the zone, Providence has not been able to get much going. Let's see if Grozer can start to hit from the outside. He's a guy that does have a good perimeter shot. With his size, he ought to be able to shoot over this zone.
Murdoch.
Shot that was really needed. Young man who averaged under 2 a game last year, Jim. Getting his shot now and doing a good job. Nice patience by Villanova here.
Evers 3. There it is.
What you said, Steve Lappas says you can keep on shooting. He squares up so well to the basket. And here you see that 1-2-2 zone.
Basket gave Villanova the 24-23 lead.
Matching up out of it. Notice how it's taken Providence off the boards, Jim. You know, everybody's surrounding the zone, not getting the offensive rebound.
Kittles inside the Lawson. Villanova won the NIT on this floor last March.
Watch this 1-2-2 zone. When Williams breaks up, they match up with him. Usually Penn. 1-2-2 matchup zone.
Larrigan lost control of it. Michael Brown comes back along with Franklin Western. And Haynes for Villanova. We're at Madison Square Garden, New York. Semifinal Saturday in the Big East, with UConn already advancing 88-81 over Georgetown. Here Villanova's trailed most of the first half, but now a recent flurry has put them in front 5-3. 11-2 run for the Wildcats.
Brown's got to be careful with his body in there, and Lawson's already got 2 fouls.
Williams with a 3. Sophomore from Philadelphia. 6-point lead for Villanova.
Just a 26% three-point shooter. Looked good on that one.
Western. First doubled up, got it away to Haynes.
Remember the first game when Jim Calhoun was screaming at his guys, catch the ball instead of trying to make a play against the press. That's what Haynes did there.
Haynes 3.
The net is pulled up. The net is pulled up. You don't usually see officials let things go with the net hanging up there, and you see one going back, throwing the ball up through.
Foul against Zeffie Penn. Chuck Cornegay comes in for Penn.
And that won't hurt the back line of that zone at all. Penn did a good job while he was in there recognizing the matchup that he had with Williams. Now it'll be Cornegay that will have that same matchup.
Larrigan rattles out right there for the rebound. Williams. Soft roll goes in.
A little extra arc on that ball, Jim, because he realized that Cornegay was coming over and Lawson behind him with a shot block.
Providence ball. Near the conclusion of this game, we'll be selecting a genuine Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the general scholarship fund of each school. Providence has won 4 straight games in the Big East tournament. When you go back to last year, prior to the streak, they were 6-14. They had no record at all in this into the season affair.
2 straight inside by Williams. You're right, Jim. That was their first trip to the championship game. They beat Villanova, Connecticut, and Georgetown. Georgetown in the final game by 10. A nice streak for them, and then a quick out in the NCAA tournament against a tough Alabama team. I thought if they had been able to get by that team, Providence might have been a team that could cause a lot of problems last year.
2 players off that team on NBA rosters. Now, Nova on a break. With the dunk.
Well, you like to see big guys run the court. They always get repaid.
31-27, Villanova, 3.5 to go. Williams can shoot it out there. Knocks down a 3.
3 straight field goals by Williams, who was a little quiet. Started the game almost a little hyper. He's really gotten into the flow now.
Give and go to Kittles. 2.
Jim, that's about his, 3rd or 4th basket in this half, moving without the ball. Well, when you look at his stats across the year, everything, rebounding, passing, ball handling, outside shooting, foul shooting, I mean, he has had an incredible season.
That's why he's the Big East Player of the Year.
And rightfully so.
Brown. Way too strong.
There's a little movement against the zone without the ball by Brown, but that was quite an air ball.
Lawson jumper.
Villanova doing a nice job since they've been on this run, Jim, running their half-court set. You see them setting back in the zone. They've turned this game into a half-court game, and they're executing much better than Providence.
35-30 Wildcats. Good follow-up.
Cornegay,
whistle.
Yeah, Cornegay got hit in the side of the head, Jim, by Brown, who's really got some upper body strength.
And officials timeout. 2 minutes and change to go. First half. Villanova 35-32.
Sparky! Stay! Sparky!
There's only one way off this boat for you now, mister.
Good thing these roll gold pretzels are fat-free.
Bombs away, pretzel boy.
Great man. Yeah, must be the pretzels. We're safe now, Sparky.
For great taste that's fat-free,
Sparky?
it must be rolled gold.
When the bear comes out of...
Yo, Billy.
Well, isn't that Pat's house?
Yes.
He took us at house that Pat built. He took us for a tour
This week.
Nice to see Pat back.
Absolutely. Kittles. In and out. Now here comes Brown. We'll head over there tomorrow for the selection show. 6 o'clock Eastern time here on
Nice shot.
And the outside baseliner by Zielinski, and misfire by Crozier there.
Beautiful play by Crozier.
Cuts it to 1, 35-34.
Isn't it amazing interesting, Jim. You sit here and watch this game. It didn't have the intensity of the first game. And you just have a feeling Villanova's way ahead till you look up at the scoreboard.
Does feel that way.
Yeah, you know, they just feel like they're totally controlling the game.
Here's the lineup tomorrow. Michigan, Purdue starts it off at 12. Then we'll have the Big East Championship game. Back to the road to the Final Four show with Coach Raveling, Quinn, and Pat O'Brien. And then later on, the selection show.
Oh, nice pump fake.
Travel first.
Williams probably could have got that shot off inside. Boy, he's got an explosive step.
Zeffie Penn the third back in.
Penn had a very good stretch of about 5 or 6 minutes when Villanova came from about 4 down to go ahead. Full court pressure, man-to-man.
Lob. Oh, he was wide open. Cornegay.
Well, it would have been a sensational play had he made it, Jim. But again, you're in a situation where all it took was a simple bounce pass to the guy on the inside that would have no chance for error.
The foul on Eric Williams, his first.
1-1, guys, 1-1.
And we're in a 1-on-1 situation. Kittles at the line.
And Jim, I talked about Terry Kittle's stats on the year. 36 minutes. He's played up, 39 minutes in a lot of key ball games. 52% from the field, 41% from 3, 77% from the foul line, 6 rebounds a game, 106 assists, only 58 turnovers, 20 points a game. I mean, just a terrific season. And he guards his man.
One of the smoothest strokes.
Yep. As an example.
Williams, basket ties it. 36 all, 40 seconds left in the half.
Williams, a great combination of strength, quickness. Young man from Vincennes Junior College. Came on the scene, leading scorer on last year's team, which is kind of surprising when you think a guy's drafted into the NBA. And ended the year on a high note with that good game against Alabama. Picked up right where he left off as an all-conference performer this year.
Senior at the point. Let's see how he handles these seconds. 5 to go on the shot.
Needs to get a jumper off.
There he is. Haynes. Kittle follows up and fouled. He'll shoot another.
And there's a matter of a lack of concentration. So many times you hear that sound. You know, I really think as a teaching tool, coaches ought to work on that play. You know, because a lot of times you see this ball go up there.
You hear the horn.
Right, you hear the horn.
Stop the
and
play.
You just relax for a
relax.
second. Yeah, and then watch what happens here. Everybody relaxes except Kerry Kittles, who plays it on out, picks up the foul, and gets a chance for a 3-point play.
Only 1.6 seconds on the game clock. 3-point play. See what kind of shot Providence.
Well, there's, they ought to foul here. They ought to foul so you don't get a shot off.
Ooh. Quick hands by Billy Packer.
The reason for it, Jim, they're not in a 1-on-1, so you go ahead and foul here, make them occupy that 0.8 of a second.
They've only
had 3 team fouls. Now they've got the ball out of bounds right here on the side. They've got a chance to get a shot off. No one touched it. Steve Lapp is saying, so you get the ball out on this end of the floor. Hey, you want to throw a lob? How about a lob pass right now to Cornegay on a back screen?
Ebers will inbound with 0.8 of a second on the game clock.
Lob pass Cornegay.
Kittles, turnaround. Kittles. Ooh. Well, Providence, we know this, Billy. They must win at least one more, though, to get into the tournament.
Well,
so they have to go into the locker room and figure out a way to get it done. Because Villanova leads at halftime, 39-36. Pat O'Brien, Quinn Buckner, and George Raveling will be along from our New York studio with Pennzoil at the half. After this message and a word from your local station.
This is their new buffalo wings, and by Baked Tostitos. You got Tostitos, you got a party.
Kerry Kittles scoring here in action during the first half. Kittles scoring a total of 10, Billy, but only 4 out of 12 from the field. And what does this show you right here? Kittle's shooting in the first half.
Well, Jim, obviously from the perimeter, it's been a 0, but he's been moving well without the ball, getting passes inside. That's where his field goals are coming from. The key for Kittle's, though, Jim, in this tournament so far, and sometimes you get into streaks where you're just not burying the outside shot. He is 7 for 24, coming off a 3 for 12 showing yesterday.
Eric Williams has 11 for the Friars. Lawson for Villanova, 5 out of 5 from the field in the first half.
Murdoch down and hurt. Trying to chase Kittles. It's not a good idea. There's that double team. So far, Villanova's done a good job when they face that double team to kick it inside to Lawson. That's why he's 5 for 5.
Hazard series here. They launch it to beat the shot clock.
That was a good piece of coaching, though, from the sidelines, because the team didn't realize, the guys on the floor didn't realize that that ball had not yet hit the rim.
Brown bangs it home from inside. 39-38 Villanova. What about Providence here in the second half, Billy, to pull this game out? What must they do?
Well, the first thing is Troy Brown, who picked up those 2 cheap fouls, had to sit a long time in the first half, particularly when Providence was playing well. So now that he's back in there, that gives him that high-low post with Williams and Brown that can be effective against this club. And there's Williams.
Perfect position, boxing out that time. Now for the lead.
Williams, solid first half, 11 points, 5 for 12.
Reach around deny by Lawson to force the steal. Kittle right back for the...
Very unselfish star player is Kittles. The zone caused Providence some trouble in the first half. Steve Lapis opts to go man-to-man here, but I'm sure we're going to see it come back again.
Outside Cornegay on the hold. Tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern, Michigan against Purdue. You got to think that Michigan's already in the field, don't you, Billy?
I don't know about that one, because I think the Big Ten keeps talking about 6 or 7 teams, but they're the 6th rated conference on the RPI index, and I don't know if you get that many if you're the 6th rated conference.
But how about Michigan, though? Would you not have them as one of the teams in from that conference? 3rd in the conference right now.
They're 3rd in the league, and so from that standpoint, you probably have to say yes. Two conference things that surprised me in that RPI, Jim. One is the Metro, which doesn't have one team in the top 25. They're ranked higher than the Big Ten, and the Big Ten's talking about having 6 or 7 teams in the NCAA tournament. Something's got to give there with the committee.
Metro 3rd in the power rankings for conferences. Not one team from the Metro in the top 25.
So are you going to put the whole Metro in the tournament for the 3rd ranked conference of the country? That's what's always fun about Selection Sunday.
First half, there were a total of 6 free throw attempts for the 2 teams.
Well, remember that Providence was not even in the 1-and-1 at the end of that half. Almost cost them. There again, hand checking with Villanova moving without the ball.
Michael Brown whistled for that one. 41-40. It's been a close game throughout, but the crowd has been almost unnoticeable.
And I think that's because of the way the first game was played, Jim. It really had the crowd up and kept them up. This game has been primarily half court. I talked to Jim Calhoun during our little break at halftime, and I said, Jim, I was kind of surprised your team went at Georgetown and really on the attack with ball handling not as crisp as normal. And he said, you have to attack Georgetown. You have to let them know you're going to attack them. He said, otherwise they'll just take it over. Wow. A block. Williams was waiting there for a half hour.
Boy, did he have to suffer the consequences here, too.
Boy, I thought he beat Evers to the spot.
You know, as many times as I see that call replayed, discussed, analyzed, it still is just One of those calls that seems like it can go either way every time. You never know which way they're going to call it until they do.
Jim, that's the second time today that Providence has been beaten on an inbounds play. The first time, remember the nice move in the first half that Kittles made on the backdoor cut on out of bounds. That time Lawson went through. And here's what I anticipated. Villanova goes to the zone.
Eric Williams, did you anticipate that?
No. I thought they might put Williams on the foul line here in the second half. Or Crozier come into the ball game and put him on the foul line, because that zone really took away the perimeter game in the first half of Providence. A nice bounce pass inside. Williams just overpowers.
Williams from Newark, New Jersey. This free throw to tie the game, 43 all.
And full court pressure by Providence. You know, this team has been solid in second half comebacks. Of course, last night was almost amazing, down 17 in the second half.
Oh, man, he saw the open lane all the way and the block on Franklin Wester.
Now, there's a guy coming back into basketball that made that play famous. But right here, if you want to see somebody who took that one from a long way out, what do you say? He was 2 feet above the rim on the way down.
I know one thing.
You're going to see it here. He's going to be. This is a next level dunk shot. Wow.
He shook out the cobwebs and woke up the crowd with that one. Kittle's three-point play gives the Wildcats the 46-43 lead.
And they get out of the zone.
Ball right back to Wester. Murdoch on the run. Brown, whistle against Villanova.
Almost what brought Georgetown a victory today was that offensive rebounding. And now Providence starting to get up on the boards.
Third on Lawson. Well, the year after you win the NIT, how do you perform? Well, St. John's into the NCAA second round. First round is all for Vandy and Stanford. Third round Virginia, second round Minnesota. Well, I've got to like Villanova's chances to better all of those last 5 NIT champions once they get to the dance next week.
Well, in college basketball, Jim, you know, one year really has very little to do with the next year because such of the changing of the guard of players. There's a fine line, and particularly now that fine line with the 13 scholarships between the mesh and the chemistry from year to year.
Although by and large, this is the same Villanova team as a year ago. Kittles warming up now. You can sense it.
I think he probably saw the shot chart. he said, yeah, right. He saw the shot chart. He said, wait a second, I don't want anybody talking about me 7 for 24.
He was over here inbounding at midcourt to start the second half. He could have very easily taken a little peek at our monitor. Wester, no chance for that one. Lawson out quickly to Haynes. Corner, Kittles.
We've seen that play before. Maybe the play of the year for Villanova. Kittles on a penetration, kicking out to Haynes.
Against Florida.
Haynes hits the shot, and that turned their season.
January 14, they were 8-5 going into that game. Brown. And doesn't drop. He'll shoot a couple.
Brown really doing a nice job off the boards, and as you pointed out, Jimmy, redshirted last year, realizing with Smith and Simpkins in there, he wasn't going to get the playing time. And now he's come back on a very productive season.
Evers and Lawson out. Cornegay is joined on the front line by Ron Wilson. And Alvin Williams returns for Villanova. Brown at the line has 10 rebounds in this game. Crozier also back, 44 for Providence.
10 rebounds. I would have had more had it not been for those 2. Let me establish myself in the post at the start of the game. Those 2 cheap fouls. You know, in that loss, the 71-70 loss, Kittles played all 40 minutes, Jim.
Villanova's turned it over only 5 times, but it's a tight one at the Gartine, Billy. to right here, 18 wins, the most ever in Big East regular season play at Villanova for the school. Yet the last 2 years with an NIT title and second place this year, no Coach of the Year honors the way it shakes out. This year it was Leonard Hamilton from Miami in the Big East. Kittles down with another rebound.
Those are really strong rebounds. I love to see a guy go straight up underneath the ball as Brown's doing. He's clearing out, staying on the ground. Here's Crozier back in the ball game, Jim. I thought we'd see more of him today coming off that big performance yesterday.
Lost the handle on that one.
Now, there was a case where the pass created the foul. There was no place for him to go. Again, you look up at the clock and you say Villanova up 10. Then all of a sudden you look at the score, Villanova's up just 4.
How does that usually, what does that usually result in?
I guarantee you, if you're the coach of the team that's ahead, it usually scares you. But you say, you know, we should be getting by these guys. Providence keeps in.
Williams got position and the bucket off the blocks. 50-48 Villanova.
Very solid game by Williams.
Always is.
Yep.
From Eric Williams. Oh, that time he got a piece of the arm, though.
Jim, you were talking about, you know, Steve Lapis and the job that he did, and I know this guy's a friend of yours, but, you know, going back through the Villanova history, I looked at what Raleigh Massimino accomplished in NCAA tournament play, and when I think of where he came into the tournament and how he usually finished, I didn't even realize this till the other day when I started looking at Raleigh's record. One national crown, of course. We know he was an 8th seed there. In 81, he was a 9th seed. 82, he was a 3rd seed. In 88, he was a 6th seed. And every one of those teams made it to a regional final. I don't know if any coach ever was able to accomplish that. Not only getting in the tournament, but when he got there, he had his teams ready to play well.
Tremendous record in the tournament. Never got to coach in the tournament at UNLV. Although the first year, his team was ranked 19th in the final AP poll and did not get a bid, mysteriously.
Wilson again, solid minutes off the bench. Had an injury problem this year, mid-season, didn't get a chance to play. Now it makes him all deeper. Gives Lawson a chance and Cornigan a chance to sit down.
Williams almost off the front of the rim for a 3. Triple by Kittles.
That was about 2 steps beyond the NBA 3 line.
Timeout called by Pete Gillen and Providence, because Villanova suddenly is in front by 7, its largest lead. Lawson from Villanova with 12 points and a 6-for-6 performance from the floor. Kittles with 18.
The player of the year is coming out here in the second half, establishing himself, and that's the difference.
55-48 Villanova with 13 minutes remaining.
Villanova sticking with their man-to-man.
Now tough shot. Cornigan secures it.
Villanova with Williams and Haynes in the backcourt has a lot of size, Jim. So it's tough to go ahead and get those penetrating dribbles by those guys and get the shot off.
Kittles inside, up and over. Michael Brown now with 20.
Too big for him. Brown strong, tough defender, but Kittles at about 6'5", 6'6". Just goes right over the top of it. Trying to post up Williams down inside on Cornigan.
Oh, Crozier.
Catch it first.
Yep. Should have had that one.
Yep.
It's a little low, but he still should have handled it.
Well, the key in that situation is catch the ball first. We saw Jim Calhoun tell his guys in the first game, just a fundamental deal. You can't make the play until you catch it. Pete Gillen really upset with his club there. That was an easy 2.
Alvin Williams Williams handling the ball, although Haynes is also in the game. Haynes, the senior. Not this time. Haynes has 8 assists versus only 1 turnover today.
Villanova has been very efficient with the ball against Providence, a team that's been playing hard-nosed defense.
Rozier, 3. Kittles threw it right back to Williams.
Well, Wilson should have let Kittles have the rebound, Jim.
Rozier, yes. All right, they were down 9. Let's remember that, Billy. They came back from 17 down last night with 10.5 to go to beat Syracuse in OT.
Games yesterday by those clubs shot under 40%. Nice drive again without the ball. Villanova giving and going all day long.
Back to 9 with 11 remaining. Rozier, boy, that's all ball.
It really was. That was an excellent block. It's one of those deals where the official anticipates the foul. Wilson had, and the hand is part of the ball here. You'll see Wilson come across. Rest my case, huh? Perfect block. You just don't anticipate the guy. I mean, you can't make a better block than that.
That was as clean as it gets. Rozier to shoot 2. Western.
Rozier last year against Villanova had a game where he scored 15 in just 16 minutes, and that's about the kind of performance you're going to need the rest of the way from this young man. Uh-oh, Cornegay in the lane. And he's going to sit down. Tough scoring from over there. Try to get smaller and quicker on defense.
Murdoch in for Williams. Everyone kind of stood around after the second made free throws as though they expected a third one.
Williams recognized the trap.
You don't run. You don't run.
And that's the best way to beat a trap if you're a guard. Recognize that it's coming and don't wait till it gets to you. Williams saw it coming and beat it. Really haven't seen the double teams by Providence cause any problem for Villanova. As a matter of fact, when they double team, particularly out front, Villanova's been able to move well without the ball and get a nice shot.
Wilson with a soft hook, drops.
Valuable player, Jim.
12 games this season. Foot injury kept him out for the bulk of the year, but now for the stretch drive, he's in there. And a huge asset, giving them 3 guys to shuttle in between 2 big positions. Murdoch short. Murdoch will try a 3 this time.
And Cornegay just a little bit too tall for Williams. That changed.
The move, yes. Kittles follows it up for 2. An 11-point advantage, largest of the game for the Wildcats. 9:45 remaining.
Williams blew by the entire defense that time at Providence with that crossover dribble. Rozier coming back into the game, Jim. I was kind of surprised he went out. They need him in there for the offense.
Well, they call it a tie-up situation. Arrow still belongs to Providence. Well, the tournament, the NCAA tournament, starts Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, right here on CBS. All 63 games of the tournament right here on the Eye.
Plenty of time.
Over the top, Rozier, foul from behind by Williams.
And he gives them that threat inside from a scoring standpoint, allows Williams to go to the outside. Coming off, obviously, the huge game yesterday against Syracuse. 28 points, 14 rebounds off the bench. Kind of interesting yesterday, Jim, in that game, bench scoring. Of course, when you get a guy that has 28 off the bench. The starters yesterday for Providence had 38 points. The bench had 33.
Here's the game last night for Crozier. 8 of 11 from the field. 3 out of 4 from behind the arc and 14 rebounds. Previous high was 23 in a game against Brown. Knocks down 2 this time. 63-54 Villanova.
Of course, that might have been a bigger game to play in Providence against Brown. When you're Providence, that's some real pressure. Good steal.
This is what they need, a little spurt. 63-56, 9 minutes to go.
And now they're setting up the pressure. 1-2-2 at about 3/4. And no kamikaze double teams, which you've been hurting them. Drop back to man-to-man.
Not this time at all. Wilson reached in. They call him for a foul. And that is the 9th team foul against Villanova. 1-1 at the other end.
You know, you think about Pete Gillen, of course, he really, you know, a coach that changes from one team to another really has 2 teams in his heart. The one that he left and obviously the one that he's coaching. And here you have Xavier and Providence. So we're talking about 2 bubbles that Pete's got to concern himself about.
Well, Xavier's much higher in the RPI. I think Xavier's in, even though it lost in the conference final.
Oklahoma State. Kentucky in control over Florida.
I'll give you another one, though, even though it's in his 3rd year. Lapis in Manhattan. Manhattan, 25-5. In or out?
I'd say out.
I agree. 6 unanswered now for the Friars, 63-58.
And again, remember when we talked about looking up at the clock, thinking you're in good shape, and all of a sudden, we're right back in the game. And there's that 1-2-2 full court press again.
Good rebound. Murdoch skying for it.
I don't sense that Providence feels that they're in any trouble at all.
Oh, and they cut it to 3.
I mean, they just have a look on their face like, hey, this is where we're supposed to be.
They rattled off 8 in a row.
Here's that press again. They're picking up a 3/4 court and dropping back to man-to-man.
Cornegay stuck. Turnaround.
Boy, the double down was coming. Didn't get there in time. Pretty good patience by Cornegay in that previous time he had the ball, Jim, not to take a bad shot. Got it out. Villanova drops back into a tight zone.
Almost picked it up on the way down.
That was a great shot by Brown because the defender's hand was right at his elbow.
Up shot.
Yep.
Western almost forces the steal. And here it is at the other end. Crozier. Brown will tie it. Crozier for the tie.
Yeah. Amazing comeback kids here.
They were 11 down with 9 minutes to go, and they chipped away in just over 2 minutes. After this message and a word from your local station. Things are getting very interesting here at the Garden.
Amazing. You know, but they're a confident team behind. I mean, you can just see it in their eyes here. And as I said, throughout the course of this entire game, you keep looking up at the scoreboard. You think Villanova's got a working margin. And all of a sudden, there's Providence. That might have been a walk.
Cornegay.
2 big turnaround jumpers. Interesting stat about that guy is his high-scoring game ever is when he played for NC State.
Against UConn.
Yeah.
Crozier for the lead.
He had a good look.
Now the try, Providence. Oh, Murdoch lost control of it. Villanova way ahead on the break. Haynes. Yes.
Murdoch unfortunately lost the dribble going down the lane.
69-65, Wildcats out of the timeout with 2 buckets. Brown, off the glass.
He played that one, Jim. He really did.
I think he did too.
The defender had the hand up, and he knew he had to have the proper angle, so he played it off the glass. He didn't call it, but that's what he was trying to do. Nice play. Ebers just not able to get that jumper off, so he drives.
Not something he does all that frequently.
No, you can see by his stats in regard to how few times he goes to the foul line, and he doesn't put it on the floor that much.
Nova up by 4. Williams 3.
Probably not a good shot. Cornegay was in good shape defensively.
Ebers. What a touch.
That's his shot right there. Thing just kind of rolled around like it was a ball with no air in it.
Providence pulled even with them, but now Villanova up 6.
Well, there was that timeout by Steve Lapis that slowed things down.
Carolina with 6 to go, up 5 on Maryland.
Joe Smith did not have a big game yesterday. Of course, we don't know. You talk about a rivalry there. And Jim, how about Florida?
Out.
Tight.
Out, unless they win this game. Out. By the way, you're reconsidering the Jaspers of Manhattan.
Well, we're going to be in town for a couple of days. Al McGuire always taught me, you always, when you're in a guy's town, you always say, oh, Manhattan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Particularly you're going into Subway,
They're 25 and 4, by the way.
Yeah, let's put Manhattan in there.
And they're 51st in the computer. Rozier gets them both.
And Jim, what'd be interesting? If you're saying Florida, probably a no. Duke, we already know is a no. That'd be 2 teams from the Final Four that returned a pretty good nucleus of their clubs from last year that will not even make the tournament this year.
Let me tell you something. I'm reconsidering. I'm putting Florida in.
All right.
Okay? They're 32nd in the computer. 17 and 11 going into this.
Their league sure won't hurt them, and getting to the semifinals of the tournament's not going to hurt either.
Borja Larrigan back in for Providence. And that foul called against Troy Brown, his 4th.
And for Providence, a very important 4:25 to go.
Well, I say.
Because you're talking about a bubble team. Good backdoor cut.
Kittles.
Beautiful set play. And you can't fault Brown at all. You've got to face guard Kittles. He doesn't know what's happening out in front of him.
First time we talked to Steve Lapis this year down at Florida. Traveling. He told us guaranteed once a game Kittles scores on a backdoor cut.
Well, you
remember that?
Yeah, you've got to overplay him because he comes out from those screens underneath the basket and can make that jumper, so you fight your way out so quick, and then he just cuts back on you.
Villanova up 6, having hit its last 6 shots from the field and a reach-in on Murdoch. Still not in the 1-on-1. That's only 16 fouls.
Tremendous rush by Providence. They've lost it right now, though.
An officials timeout. Wildcats by 6. Jim Nance and Billy Packer, along with Michelle Tafoya, for the Big East semifinal with Villanova, the 2 seed, leading by 6. Final 4 minutes. Winner plays UConn tomorrow for the Big East title.
Jim, this is really an important possession, I think, for Villanova.
They doubled up. They trapped Williams, and they had to burn a timeout. Each team has 1 timeout remaining. Key stretch ahead for Providence. Each team has 1 timeout remaining.
Jim, the reason I think this is critical is Providence would have to make another run here on the next 1 or 2 possessions. You make the great run and then they take it out of you. You have another run left.
Scrappy play, and Villanova comes out of the pack with Lawson off the floor, and then last touch by Western.
Okay, down to 7 seconds. And Steve Lapis does the right thing as a coach. Remember, guys, how much time we have left. Remember in the first game when Georgetown really didn't recognize that they only had 20 seconds to work with. Here it's down to 7.
Who will get the shot here, Evers?
I would penetrate and kick out to Evers or to Kittles.
Kittles inside, Lawson will take it. Lawson, perfect game from the field.
Backbreaker there for Providence.
7 of 7.
That was a backbreaker. Cornegay and then Lawson. Cornegay with those 2 turnaround jumpers.
Brown.
That was just a little test of manhood there. You know, neither guy wanted to give up the ball.
Well, the foul is on Troy Brown, and that's his 5th.
I didn't even see a foul there. I thought it was a pretty good rebound. Boy, Michael Brown missed everything on this shot. There you go. Now they just wanted to say, I'm stronger. Where was the foul, Jim?
Well, there had to be a little contact in there, Billy.
Well, I mean, they were both fighting for the ball.
That's it for Brown. Villanova averages 18 free throw attempts a game. Today, they've shot 4. 1-1, Lawson.
Providence never got into the 1-1 in the first half.
Troy Brown, by the way, fouls out, 13 points, 12 rebounds. Double-double.
And he has to hope now that his teammates can pull something out, or he's looking at a non-NCAA tournament.
Williams, easy 2.
Good bounce pass inside.
Down 7, 2:50 remaining.
Got to do it on defense now, Jimmy. Can't trade baskets. Kittles has been so patient today.
There it is on defense. 3 on 2.
He's got the layup.
Reach in on Haynes.
That was a pretty good foul. That was an automatic deuce. But again, when you get in this kind of position, you've got to do it with a press. You've got to strike quickly, get some made free throws so that the press can be put in place and score off the defense, because you can't trade baskets.
Murdoch 71% on the season. And let's get another update here. Let's squeeze it over to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Going to keep an eye on your game and show you what's going on in Maryland, North Carolina, down in Greensboro in the ACC semifinal. Maryland has a 2-point lead now. They're in the red jerseys, North Carolina in white. Quinn?
Well, North Carolina has had a lot of what you would believe would be the answers, and Rasheed Wallace having right now about 27 points and 4 blocks.
And with that basket right there by Joe Smith, that gives him 20 points and 20 rebounds.
Maryland and North Carolina, about 3 candidates for Player of the Year playing in this game, and it's been close pretty much all the way, with Maryland now with a 3-point lead. Let's go back now to the Garden and Jim Nance and Billy Packer. Jim?
A steal by Providence, but an empty trip. And this comes after Murdoch missed 2 at the line. So 2 chances turned away.
And Jim, watching that other game, we talk about 2 #1 seeds, or what seem to be #1 seeds. Kansas falls in the finals of the Big 8. North Carolina is standing a chance of falling in the semifinals of the ACC. Does that change the bracket?
Oh, yeah. I think if Carolina loses, UConn could be playing for #1 in the East tomorrow.
Wild day in college basketball. Nice patience by Villanova. They realize the clock is another one of their teammates right now. Kittle is so patient for a big score. Never forces anything. Not the only game this year where I really saw him kind of worn down. It probably was coming off of that Connecticut game. It was in the Cap Center against Georgetown. He just kind of ran out of gas. It was so great up in Stores. That was a Sunday-Tuesday combination. It's kind of tough to come back in one day.
Kittles at 37, playing with a case of bronchitis in that game. Here's the lineup tomorrow on CBS. Michigan, Purdue at 12. Then the Big East final, followed by the road to the Final Four. A little skiing, and then we'll come off the slopes for the NCAA selection show. You'll hear it here first. Expanded 1-hour edition, 6 o'clock Eastern time. 1-1.
Jim, you know, in the summertime we get a chance to meet with the NCAA tournament committee at their meetings. They've been talking about, hey, we got this thing together, boy. On Thursday we go in. By Friday we know who's in there. Saturday, I tell you, this year there may be some regrouping of the troops. It might not be such a calm dinner this evening. It was a tough year anyway, and you start thinking about the balance around the country.
9-point Villanova lead, 1:30 remaining. Providence has come back several times this season, but is this too much? Can't afford any more empty trips. And a reach in on Larrigan.
That should about wrap it right here. Good job. Steve Lapis on that timeout, Jim, when the real comeback was taking place by Providence. Didn't waste any time, got his team to the side.
Billy, let's get another update on that game. Let's go back to our guys in the studio, led by Pat O'Brien. Pat?
All right, Jim, and it is a game. 20 seconds left. It's 86-86. Let's go down to Bob Rathbun at courtside.
12 seconds left. The clock running. Carolina bidding for the final shot. This game is tied at 86. The Tar Heels go it for the win. Here's McGinnis. His shot, no good. The tip, no, and we've got overtime in Greensboro. Dan, you called it.
Overtime. Let's go back to Jim Nance. We'll keep you up to date on that game. Jimmy?
Thank you, Pat. Kittles hit 2 free throws for Villanova and rebounds at the other end. That was not a very well executed final play.
Let's check in on the Southwest Conference.
6'4", usually pretty good at penetrating on the inside, but did not get off a good shot. I would agree with you. And again, you know, when you start thinking about neither Carolina or Maryland have a lot of depth, and not too many people are deep this year. And it's interesting in these tournaments, playing 3 games in 3 days, how that's going to wear on somebody, particularly when you take into consideration Thursday, you may be starting all over again.
Well, we're heading for a Villanova-UConn rematch.
But obviously, one theory that coaches don't care about postseason tournaments doesn't play out very well, as hard as we've seen people playing around the country today. The top teams really going after it. Maryland, of course, playing without Gary Williams, so they've done a good job to play without their head coach in that one. Hopefully he'll be back for their team's play in the NCAA tournament.
So UConn and Villanova to duel for the Big East crown. UConn won at Villanova in their first matchup this year. And then Villanova returned the favor at Gamble Pavilion on campus in Storrs, Connecticut, ending UConn's 1-week reign as #1 in the nation.
Ending a lot of streaks, Jim. Undefeated in the conference, home streak, #1 streak. That was a tough day for the people of the state of Connecticut.
The thing is, we discussed in the first game too, Billy, it was such a staggering blow, a stunning loss, I think, to the Huskies. In some ways, I think it shocked them to be manhandled like that at home. In some ways, maybe they haven't recovered. And tomorrow, a chance to exorcise, if you will, that performance from their minds.
And in the case of Villanova, I think that this team has come on as the year has gone on, as they got Cornegie into the lineup. Got him used to some playing time after having to sit out last year and through the first semester of this year. So this is a much improved team from the one that started the season. Remember, they started out up in Alaska, lost to Minnesota, and beat Louisville in the consolation game up there. But a much improved team since the club that I saw back in November.
Yeah, the key down the stretch here too, Billy. How about this stat? Villanova has made its last 8 shots from the field.
Well, and that I didn't realize it was 8 in a row, but I go back, when the coaches sit down and look at film, I think of that possession where the ball was all over the floor. Then they end up getting a good jump shot by Lawson. Really broke the back of any comeback chance for Providence.
Here's the lineup tonight on CBS. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. And then Valerie Harper stars in the series premiere of The Office, the new comedy series for the 90s workforce. Then it's The 5 Mrs. Buchanans, and then Walker, Texas Ranger. So check it all out tonight. Valerie Harper in The Office.
And Jim, when you think of the great tradition of Villanova, now they'll be in the final. They never did win a Big East tournament championship. You know, the one year that they played up when in Syracuse in the Dome in that triple overtime, of course, they were highly favored in that game. Syracuse, and I still can't get over this. You think how the game has changed. Syracuse won the Big East championship in the triple overtime game over Villanova and didn't get a bid to the NCAA tournament because the Big East didn't yet have one. So they went down to the NIT and lost to the finals there. Villanova moved into the NCAA as an at-large team.
Well, last year, Providence won the Big East championship for the first time. Tomorrow, Villanova will bid for its first, going against the Huskies, who the one year they won it, and they went all the way to the Final 8.
Okay, Kittle's on the line. How about this, Jim, when he had that 44-point game this year against BC and came out with almost 4 minutes remaining in the game, could have set the all-time Big East scoring record probably at the way that he was tearing it up.
Pulled that off on Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras Day for the New Orleans native.
You know, how about his high school is the #1 rated high school team in the country right now. Quite a tradition.
Kevin Cox in for Kittles. Kittles retires today with 29 points. Back tomorrow.
19 in the second half. Eliminated all those thoughts of him being in a slump. Boy, that was a pretty good try there.
Rozier.
And, you know, that young man shows some signs of being a real star quality player in the Big East next year.
Rozier only a sophomore. Hornegay.
As will that young man.
Michael Brown.
That ball did hit the rim. They want Cox to take the jumper.
Gets the try. Well, Providence likely on its way to the NIT. Kerry Kittles and company back tomorrow to tangle with UConn in the Big East final. The Chevrolet players of the game are the genuine Chevrolet players. Crozier from Providence, 21 points. Kittles, Villanova, 29. Check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. All right, when we come back, we're going to send it back to the studios with Pat O'Brien, Coach Raveling, Quinn Buckner. Here's Villanova into the finals.